Of all the challenges I faced today, it wasn't the humidity, it wasn't the hills, it was getting shot.
Ironman 70.3 Puerto Rico is in the books, our first ever relay, and we had big goals, and guess what? We did it! I'll start things off. As the swimmer, I started things off for our team. We were right here in this area race morning, and the energy was great. Puerto Rico has so much energy from start to finish, and there's so much culture, so many friendly people, really cool vibe, and a beautiful picturesque place to start the day, and it only got better as the day went on. I guess a little bit of a rookie mistake for us is that we've never done a relay, so we didn't know that the relays started separately. At the very end of the swim shoot. So I had to go to the very back of the line and swim with all the relay swimmers, which is fine. I don't mind doing that, but that also means that all of the other swimmers from fast to slow are all ahead of you. And so that was a little bit of a consideration for me was, am I gonna have to contend with swimming around bodies? What's it gonna be like? Is it gonna be chaotic? It actually turned out to be pretty calm. The other thing that I found out on race morning was that underneath that bridge behind us, which we swam under, I was told to beware of the currents because they were gonna push you, it was gonna get a little choppy, it was gonna pull you, and not to fight it or swim through it, swim faster, don't swim too hard. So I got all the advice from every single person talking about the current, and so that was in my head. But first, going out along the shoreline of Lagoon was really nice. I felt like I got into a nice groove, was swimming well. I didn't really contend with a lot of traffic, that was fine. Made the first right-hand turn and made another right-hand turn all the way back, and all I could think is, how am I going to approach the bridge? How am I going to approach the current? What am I gonna do? What's my strategy? So my strategy was really just to kind of keep an awareness of the swimmers around me and kind of feel it out. And once I got to the bridge, yeah, I did feel some of the chaos and a lot of the slower swimmers that started in the back in the last part of the waves, you know, they were struggling. They were really trying to kind of sort themselves out. It got a little congested going through the bridge, but I was able to find a good line, go through it and pick my line, and it really wasn't bad at all. Got through the bridge, got to the other side, and then I got to have a little bit of fun. Kind of took me back to the times when I used to surf, and I got to ride some waves a little bit. It wasn't crazy waves, don't get me wrong there, but it was a little bit of up and down, and I got to kind of play in the waves a little bit and use the waves to my advantage to help me propel me to the finish line. And yeah, I just swam hard as I could. I thought my back half of the swim was actually a little slower, but I think we did have some advantage of the current, so my last 1,000 was actually faster than my first 1,000 of the swim, and I came out at 36:06, which actually ended up being fastest in my age group. If I had been doing the age group race, I would have had the fastest swim in my age group. So I'm really happy with that. On the clock, I really wanted a 34-minute swim, but you have to kind of take the conditions into consideration. So I can't be too upset about that. I think also it was my fastest non-wetsuit swim. The sailfish swim skin was money for me. I really appreciate that. Got up the steps. You had to climb a big A-frame stair frame up and down. And then I think the hardest part of the day for me, other than cheering on these two, was the half-mile run from the swim exit to transition, T1. And these two were waiting for me. I could see them glowing in their bright orange. I could see Caitlin licking her chops ready to go. She came, got that chip, got it on her ankle, and she was off. But all in all, for me, I was happy with it. I was proud to start my team off and set them up, and then I had a lot of time to kill for the rest of the day.
I didn't have to swim, so it was really weird feeling for me. We all walked down to here, to the swim start as a team, had our usual pre-race ritual, go out and smash it. And then as soon as, I told Tiff best of luck and all that, I went back to transition, which was so weird. The race hadn't even started yet. I wanted to give myself plenty of time to get back and to give myself time for a warm-up. I finally got back. It's about a mile between swim start and T1. I got to T1. I did about a 10-minute warm-up run, and I had an oh my gosh moment. I was already drenched. It was so humid and hot, and I was like, how am I gonna handle this on the bike? And so I just like started taking in more liquids. I'm standing at my bike, I've got my helmet on, my cleats on, and I'm like, where are all the other relay cyclists? And I look up and there's a tent right inside transition where the swim in is and then the run out is. And so I asked some of the people standing there, I said, hey, is this where the transfer takes place? And they were like, yes, this is where the transfer takes place of the chip. It's like, oh, okay, good to know, because we had planned on doing this at our transition area, at the bike.
Yeah, we did practice. It was fun. It was quite a sight to see.
So that went out the window, and I see her coming, and I bend down, I get the chip off of her, put it on me, and I'm running to my bike. I get it unwrapped, and I'm running to mountain line, and I'm like, man, this is a little bit further run to the mountain line than I was expecting. But I get on, and immediately it's cobblestones. It's cobblestones straight down the path, but on the sides it was just smooth. And there were some humongous speed bumps that you literally had to slow down almost to a stop to get over so you didn't launch a bottle. Got over the speed bumps, and there was a slight uphill getting out. Nailed it, but I did have plenty of lead-in time to get my gears right for that uphill. Bike was amazing. I'm used to doing these Zwift races, so I'm pushing way too much power at the beginning of this race than I probably should have. I'm averaging like 200 watts for like the first half hour. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope this doesn't just like totally bomb the back half of my race. Kind of in the middle, there's 2 loops you gotta do. I could tell during the loops I kind of got a little complacent, my power dropped a little bit, but I was still pushing more power than I have done in previous 70.3 races. The last 10 miles, I was like, I'm looking at my time, I'm looking at my watch, the power I'm pushing, how much time I have until I hit that sub 231 mark I'm trying to hit. I had already hit my first goal of exceeding my power wattage by 10 watts, and so I knew I was golden there, but I still had that time goal that I was wanting to hit. And so I powered through, and I looked back a couple times and I saw a couple people on my wheel, but I just let them do their own thing. That's fine. I got close to the mountain line, and we had to go over those bumps again and the cobblestones, so I took the outside line where it was smooth riding. I'm really good about coming in pretty hot to the dismount line. I think I always get them a little nervous because they're there telling you to slow down. I'm slowing down, but I'm still going at a pretty high pace. But I dismount my bike, and then I got to run it to the bike rack, which was a little bit of a trek. And then I rack my bike, I take my shoes off, and then I had to run to the run out because that's where Colin was meeting me. And so I think, I kid you not, the running that I had to do was probably the hardest thing I did, even harder than the 56 miles of biking. It's just, you know, we've trained individually for the sport that we were going to do, and so I hadn't really trained much running, and so when I had to run, it was like a shot to the system. I think our chip transfer went pretty well. Yep. I got to you, and you took it right off my ankle, got it on you, and vamos, Colin, vamos! Only had to do one leg, but it was still just as hard, if not harder. I gave everything I absolutely had on that bike, and once I passed that chip on to Colin, I got back to my bike, and I think I just collapsed. I was just so tired. I left it all out there. I got nothing left. Woo! You're done!
All right, so the run. This is the start of my 6th triathlon season. And this is the most unsure I've been going into an event like since my rookie year. Because I woke up at 4 a.m. like everybody else, and then I waited for 6 hours. I didn't really know when to eat. I stood and watched the swim start in just regular clothes, and that felt weird. I watched Caitlin start on the bike, and that felt weird. I sat under a palm tree and just watched the waves because there was nothing else to do. It's my 6th year doing triathlons. I played baseball for 15 years. And I tried to equate it in my mind as I'm the closer in the bullpen.
Give me more.
Like, this is what you do. You just sit and you're a bum until the end, and then you've got to come out and crush it. You only get called into the game if you need to like secure the win. So in one sense, I wouldn't have been nervous if Tiffany's swim was terrible or if Caitlin's bike was terrible, because then I just jog and it's fine. But no, awesome swim, awesome bike, and I'm sitting there with the Ironman app, and every time they go over one of the timing mats, I'm like, okay, she's really crushing it. It's all gonna come down to you.
No pressure.
No pressure.
You're my man. Go get him, kid.
And just waiting there, I was trying to just be relaxed, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm more nervous then than I had been, like even before my first full. Like just standing there waiting for Caitlin, I looked down at my watch and my heart rate was 115 beats per minute, waiting in transition, because I knew that sub 5 was in the cards. It was something we could accomplish. I just couldn't screw it up. So no pressure. I had planned to go do a warm-up run that was like 10 or 15 minutes, some strides, and that time kept on getting bumped up because Caitlin kept on killing the bike course. So I was like, okay, I need to do this run 5 minutes sooner, 5 more minutes sooner. And when I went and did the run, I really felt like I didn't have it. Like I had this side stitch that popped up, my foot started hurting. Like my tempo pace wasn't where I wanted it to be, and I just didn't feel great. And I tried to write it off as this is heat, this is pressure, you'll be fine. Get in transition, grab the chip from Caitlin, put it on my leg, run out, and that first mile was bad. I mean, time-wise, it's probably fine, but I felt pretty crappy. And that humidity, it beats down on you. Like, this is a very hilly course, but I live in Nashville. There are plenty of hills there. There's nothing about these hills that are any different than the hills I run every day. That first couple miles, like my mind kind of went bad places, and I was thinking like, how am I gonna apologize to them? Because they turned in awesome times and I'm gonna turn in something crappy and we're gonna finish in 5:10. It's a 3-lap course. You go out, you go back, and then you do that 2 more times. Coming back is more downhill, going out is more uphill, but there's hills both ways. You're never avoiding it, it's never flat. You look at your watch, there's no like, oh, this is the good pace I wanna keep, because you're gonna go up or you're gonna go back down. When I got back from the first lap, I started feeling a little bit better. I had that side stitch, like not only in the warm up, but in the first 3-4 miles. I didn't really know how to deal with that, because that's not something I normally ever feel on race day. I just tried to run through it as best I could. I wasn't quite where I wanted to be running, but it was good enough. I looked at my watch when Tiffany jumped in the water, and it was 17 minutes after the hour. And because I can't look and see where we are sub 5, because if we're gonna be sub 5 or not, because it's just my running time. But I knew as long as I finished before 12:17, that was sub 5. And I kept doing math, looking at my watch, not so much at my like pace, but all right, if I have 5 more miles to go, or if I have 8 more miles to go, how am I pacing to get done by 12:17? And that's really kind of what I focused on all 3 laps. I never felt good at any point. I started feeling a little chipper and happy because I realized if I kept my pace, it was gonna be really close, like within 60 seconds, 90 seconds. But as long as I could hold that, we'd finish like 4:58, 4:59. You know, Major League Baseball closers, sometimes they come in, they get the 3 outs. It's the most boring 9th inning. Other times they load the bases with nobody out. And then there's like foul balls and strikeouts, and the 9th inning takes 25 minutes. But as long as they get the 3 outs, it doesn't matter. And that's how this run was. It never went how I wanted. I never felt great. I went through all the stages of like sorrow and depth and despair, but I did just enough to not waste their efforts. And what was our finishing time? It was 4:50.
4:57:33.
So 4:57:33. I even had a couple extra minutes. When I got to like mile 12, I was like, okay, as long as I don't trip and fall over, we've got this. But I could trip and fall over. I was nervous until all the way across the finish line, because I'm not cut out to be a closer. I've learned that. I get nervous, there's pressure, but we got it done. To this day, like right now and when I finished, I do not know what my run time was. I think it was around 1:40, 1:45, but I honestly don't know. All I cared about was sub 5. It was a sloppy run, but it was just enough.
Team Southern, try.
And we got sub 5 done. And that's all you can hope for when you're the closer.
And that's all that mattered on race day, was putting a big goal out there in the universe. And it took all three of us to reach that goal. It was a true team effort, in not even just race day, but in the weeks and months leading up to this race. Like, we've wanted to do this for years, and we finally got the opportunity.
I always cry at the finish because that's just what I do. I didn't have the energy to cry. If anything, I wanted to puke. I didn't do that either. So it's a good day. I didn't puke, I didn't cry, and we got sub 5. I'll take it, even if the path to getting there was full of sweat and despair.
And our closer, our cleanup hitter, our kicker with 1 second left in overtime, delivered us to a sub 5 relay time. Goal accomplished. Colin did it.
Pretty cool moment for me was I passed a lot of cyclists. I was constantly saying on your left, and I'm not gonna lie, I think a couple people that I passed, a couple guys kind of looked over their left shoulder as I was passing. They were a little surprised they heard a female voice coming, but watch out, I was coming. Sorry if you didn't appreciate being chicked. It happens.
I gotta say, I really am proud to have that fastest swim in my age group. I know we all just did one leg, but that's still, to me, that's an accomplishment. You know, I think the three of us, we're probably an underdog story. We probably should not have finished in the top 10 of a relay. 2 women and a dude. I mean, that probably doesn't happen very often in a super competitive field. And to show up as, you know, again, not elite triathletes and put down a showing, putting a goal out there in the universe that was a little bit scary, and showing up and making it happen.
Waiting for Colin, I was watching the runners as well, and I was thinking, I am so glad I am not doing the run. Sorry, Colin. But I will admit, I think we were all in agreement.
We did the right discipline for each of us.
Yeah.
There's no Monday morning quarterbacking that I should have been biking or anything like that. Like, this was the lineup that we needed to have.
Absolutely.
I'm just so dang proud of what you both did and how we all rose to the occasion and we did what we needed to do. It's a team effort. I know that Colin bore the brunt of the pressure, and so grateful for his efforts. He could have easily said, you know what, it's too tough today, and made every excuse in the book, and you know, he would have been right for it, but
I had an apology in my mind. Like, that's the depth of despair in those first couple of
but
miles.
that's not who Colin is. Colin is not gonna let you down. Colin is gonna show up, and if Colin knows that we have a chance, unless he's got a broken limb, he's gonna figure it out. He ran with that side stitch, he ran with foot pain, and he did it all for the greater good of our team hitting the goal that we put out into the universe several months ago.
Colin also doesn't handle compliments well. I'm about ready to go run up that hill again because I know how to handle that better than I do by hearing nice things about me. So I'll just say thank you. There were lots of people with hoses
Yes! Been waiting for this.
cooling people down because it was very hot. Lots of guns, super soaker type stuff, bags of ice. But
Juicy details right here.
there was this one guy. I don't know what you call the hose. It wasn't like a fire hose. That's an exaggeration. It wasn't a garden hose. Maybe like a commercial watering hose hooked up to a fire hydrant. It was pumping out a lot of water.
Yikes.
And I was excited to get hosed down for like the 17th time. This is the 3rd lap on the way back. I'm 2 miles from the finish. As long as I can keep this pace, as long as I don't fall over, I've got it. This guy he's ready, he's hosing people down, and I put my hands up like, here, shoot me down with water.
He shot you down.
Hits the spigot right into a very special area that they can't relate to, and it immobilized me to where I was like, oh my God, I might actually fall over. I forgot about the side stitch. I forgot about the humidity. I had a lot of thoughts that were not kind towards the volunteer who was trying to do a good thing, but we pushed that aside quickly. Of all the challenges I faced today, it wasn't the humidity, it wasn't the hills, it was getting shot in the nuts by a hose. Story over.
So now we've done our very first relay after talking about it for maybe 2 years now. And now it's got us thinking, what's the next one?
Oh, it's a big ass plane. I didn't realize.
It's just like a 737.